How to start, what camera is best for beginners? Lots of photography questions here, and this one's come from the Into the Mind page. I think my camera's actually up here that I started on. I started on like it's this one. Actually, I'll get it for you guys. Give me a sec. So this right here is the camera that I started on. Well, actually, it's not. Technically, I had a little digital camera, which is probably sitting down there somewhere. But this is the camera that I like, my first professional-ish camera. It is a Nikon D3300, D3300, and God, it is old. It's got dust all over it, and the lens is tiny, and it's so light. God, I used to shoot on that. That's mental. But yeah, that was my first kind of big camera that I got, and I was quite young when I started shooting on that. I think that for beginners, I would go with something relatively cheap. I actually remember a conversation that we had with a guy. Oh, I can't remember his name. That's so rude of me. Terry O'Neill. Terry O'Neill was his name. He was the photographer for David Bowie. He has a ton of unbelievable professional work. And he's really, really famous, or he was really, really famous. He really unfortunately passed away. Now, he actually came to a Chisholm Hunter event in Edinburgh. And as he was at the Chisholm Hunter event, he was going through chemotherapy. So he was very, very sick, and he had cancer. And I feel like because he was at that point in his life, he just didn't care. You know, it's a bit like what we came back to earlier. When you're at that point, you are so confident because you know, why wouldn't I be? You know, it's just I'm not going to be here soon. So why wouldn't I be confident? Why wouldn't I trust myself? So because of that, we got a really raw, incredible interview with him. And he was talking about all these awards he's won and all the camera equipment. And somebody in the Chisholm Hunter suite in Edinburgh said, what camera do you suggest for me to use? Like, what would be your suggestion? And he said, to be honest, mate, like, I don't care. I pick the camera that's cheapest, and it's totally situational. And that definitely resonated. I think that being at the right place at the right time definitely outweighs the camera. So I think that for your first camera, just get something that's small, point and shoot, and try and be at the right place at the right time. For example, something that came out recently was the guy that had that really famous photo of Donald Trump after the assassination attempt. And it's Donald Trump putting his hand in the air when he was shouting fight, and the American flag's behind him. One of the most famous photos in history for sure. That guy was at the right place at the right time. And I'm sure he had a good camera, but it wouldn't have been amazing. And he got the incredible photo because he was at the right place at the right time. So I feel like people can get preoccupied again with the details of the camera, whether something's going to be amazing in low light or not, and blah, 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 blah. It's not the be all and end all, but when you get more advanced in photography, it does matter. Like you need a certain degree of recording. I need to record in 4K because the videos that we upload to YouTube are in 4K. I also like a macro lens because it gets detail of watches that you might not see otherwise. But when you first start, it's more about the process of just getting out there and shooting. And I think that process doesn't involve a really expensive camera. It just involves an entry-level camera. I'm sponsored by Canon. I've got 6 months left in my contract. However, I did shoot Canon prior to being sponsored. I think the Canon EOS R5 is... Canon EOS R5? No, not the Canon EOS R5. The Canon EOS R is a good start because it's quite cheap and it does everything that you need it to do plus more. So Canon EOS R is a good start. However, there's tons of amazing options from Lumix, Nikon, what's the other one? Sony, and all the rest of it. So there's so many cameras out there.